What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Marshall Time. You know what it is. What's going on, bro?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Man, we're getting into the thick of things in the NBA. Got a few weeks in the books already, and so this show is about what's caught our eyes so far as disappointments, the surprises, what we've been impressed with, player and team wise, right? And so I think at this point in the season, it's still a little early. For me, it's like I want to wait until like the December, January period before I really have like hard takes on these teams because the records sometimes can be so close to each other. Like a lot of teams are in the 3, 4, 5 win range at this point, right? So they're still allowed to be determined. But there are little things from teams and players that you can point out, like, okay, he's been working on his game. This team is much more cohesive. There's a better coach situation. There's a couple of things that we can already point out. One of our, the Sixers being one of them, right? You can just see differences from the previous year. And there's another team that I'll definitely bring up for sure. So for you, let's start out with what's been most impressive, whether it's a team or a player this season so far.
You already know I'm going with the home team, man.
Yeah.
Cat, on the cat. I'm going with the Sixers, man. I mean, what else is there to say? Like, we're the number one seed. We beat Boston, who we know notoriously has beaten us, majority of the times we played them over the past few years. We just look great, man. Like, I love how Kelly Oubre came in and just turned things up for us. He's actually competing on defense. I know people knocked him for that in the past because he has the tools to play his defense. He's like 6'8", long arms. He's athletic. He's doing a good job of scoring the ball. We already knew Maxey was going to break out, but I'm impressed with how good of a playmaker he's become. He's getting close to double doubles, or he's getting double doubles. Embiid's doing his thing. And Tobias, man, like I've been telling people for the past few years, like he may be overpaid, but he's still a good player. He was on, they made him the fourth option with Harden. You put him in the corner and told him to spot him and shoot threes like he's JJ Redick or somebody. Kyle Korver, that's not his game. He's a scorer. He's a natural scorer. Like we see him do it in Orlando. We see him do it on the Clippers. And they just diminished his role and try to make him a 3-and-D guy, but he's really a scorer. And he's showing that, he's still capable of scoring and he's scoring efficiently. So I'm just impressed with how things are going. Big props to Nick Nurse. Like, you know what I mean? I know a lot of people had, they gave a lot of, flack to Doc, and some of it was deserved, some of it wasn't. But regardless of the outcome right now, like Nick Nurse has changed things, for the better for this team. And, I feel like we have a good roster. We still need to make an improvement at the 2 spot, and we'll talk about that, at another time. But for now, man, we're just going to cherish and, that we're off to a great start this season.
Enter this year with no expectations for the Sixers. At this point, if you've been a Sixers fan, if you've been following this team, it's ended in disappointment. We don't got to talk about last year in the playoffs, right? We don't have to talk about the Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, JJ, that era that was disappointing. I mean, that team, to me, that you think about it, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, JJ Redick, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris. I mean, that's a championship quality roster on paper, right? And so just to have this disappointment, it sort of led to, for a lot of us fans, a disinterest in, as far as we're not going to be as invested this year. You gotta show me. And I'm still sort of there. Like I'm excited about what they're doing. I love it. They're actually, for the first time in a couple years, like this team is actually fun to watch now. Like I'm excited about the Celtics win. I'm excited about the potential of making a deadline deal. There's a couple names that excite the fans right now when it comes to the deals that we could make. And I'm excited that we have the opportunity to make an Eastern Conference Finals run. Now, after that, it's fair game, right? Just give us a chance. I just want the opportunity to compete for a spot in the finals. And we haven't had that, right? It's been a long time. And so to see a Sixers team that finally, every year we've said, look, we're too one-dimensional with these guys. We're not athletic. We don't have any wings. We got wings now. We got Kelly Oubre, a guy who a type of player that we've needed forever. And so to see this team with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey stepping his game up, he's having 25 points a game, up from 20 last year. He's improving every year. Kelly Oubre, Tobias is, he's on, Nick Nurse is unlocked who Tobias really is, as you explained, right? And so to have the energy that this team is playing with now, I mean, this is the basketball that we want to see, and we haven't had that for some time now. It's just been distraction after distraction, from Ben Simmons to James Harden. Now both those guys are gone. The vibes are amazing, and you can see it on the court. Like Patrick Beverly, having a guy like that on the team. You can say what you want to say, but that type of energy, you need that. Nicholas Batum, getting him in the Clippers trade. I mean, he's a solid player. And so I love how this team is going. I love the direction that they're going. And shout out to Nick Nurse. I mean, I've been a fan of his since the Raptors days, right? Leading them to a championship. And so with the Nick Nurse team, watching those Raptors squads, they have an identity. They're going to get after their own defense, and they're going to play with energy on both ends of the floor. And that's what we see from the Sixers. So it's just amazing to see, wow, like this is some fun basketball. And so the Sixers are definitely a team that's been most impressive. Another team, and this is, I think in our preview, I mentioned this coach as like a sleeper, I believe, for coach of the year. And that was Rick Carlisle. Indiana's the real deal. I just got to say it. Like what they did against Milwaukee. I know Milwaukee didn't have Dame, but Giannis put up almost 60. Milwaukee's still Milwaukee. They're a championship contender. Even without Dame, Indiana's a young team still trying to figure out their way, still trying to prove that they can be a contender year in and year out. And what they did late in that game, it's impressive to be so young. I mean, look at this roster. I mean, all these guys are in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? And so I got to give a shout out to the Pacers. And when I watch them, because they're on my top 5 league pass team now, like they're a top 5 league pass watch for me. And so when I watch them, an exciting brand of basketball. You watch these guys playing with each other. They love it. You can tell that there's a certain level, there's a certain energy. I think that matters in basketball, the energy level. Do you love playing with each other? Is there a joy to the game? And that's what I see when I watch the Pacers, because the ball is moving. Kudos to Therese Halliburton. I think he starts all that, getting guys involved. It's not just his scoring, right? Like the passing. It's the same way with the Nuggets and Joker, right? Like his ability to create for others, it just ignites an excitement for the whole roster. And so they have 7 players averaging double figures. Like I looked at the Nuggets, the Celtics, the Sixers, they have a few, 4 or 5 guys putting up double figures, right? To have 7 guys in double figures, to me, that this tells you on any given night, you just never know. And there's a confidence that these guys have. Whenever they get the rock, and Aaron Nesmith, he's shooting it, no hesitation. He's averaging double figures. You got a Bruce Brown, Benedict Mathurin, Obi Toppin, Miles Turner putting up 17 a game. Andrew Nembhard, a really solid backup point guard. Like he's going to be in the league for a long time. They have the big guys who are going to hustle. Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson. Who knows? I mean, the rookie Jarris Walker's developing. Who knows what type of player he may be towards the end of the year? You never know. And so they're putting up 126 points a game, first in scoring. And so just how they've been playing, to me, outside of Boston and Philly and Milwaukee, the East is pretty much open, right? For some of these teams to take that 4th spot, the 5th spot. And I think Indiana's taking that opportunity. And so Indiana's the team for me outside of the Sixers that, look, when I see them on the league pass docket, I'm clicking, because they are fun to watch and they're winning basketball games. And that's what it's about for a young team, trying to figure out how to win games. And they're doing it. And I don't think this is fake. I think this is legit.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Indiana, like, they're that young team that, like, every night they're going to give you their all. You know what I mean? And you can't take them lightly. We've seen it with Milwaukee. Any team can't take them lightly. And when you got a playmaker like Halliburton that can just get everybody involved, they got shooters around them, they got athletic guys around them. They're a dangerous team for sure. So people just got to watch out for them. I love Benedict Mathurin's game. I love Buddy Hield. He's a shooter. Miles Turner's always been a solid big. They even got Obi Toppin, who's athletic, and he's getting more, opportunity to shine than he did in New York. So I feel like they got a good roster together.
Also, a player I want to shout out. I mean, we talked about the Sixers, Maxey, Kelly Oubre, but another player on another team in the East, Jalen Johnson for the Hawks. You talk about most improved. To me, this is what the most improved conversation is about. A guy like him. This is his 3rd year, so year 1. He's a 3rd-year small forward for the Hawks. Put up 2 points a game. Last year, 5 points a game. Now he's putting up 14. To me, that's like, okay, I see. Just watching Hawks games, I'll check in and see what they're, what Trey and DeJounte are up to. And he's just out there. His presence is undeniable. He adds like the athletic presence out there. He's a threat. And he's a guy like, man, is there a way we can get him in the Sixers? Probably not, but that's a guy that, like, I'm trying to add to the squad now. Like he's really that solid of a player. And so Jalen Johnson, for me early on, he's in that most improved conversation, especially if Atlanta keeps winning and if they're in that top 4, top 5 range in the Eastern Conference. I think Jalen Johnson has to be in that conversation as far as going from 2 points, 5 points, and now 6 points a game away from 20. Like, to me, that's growth. That's improvement.
Yeah, another player that has caught my eye, and I know it's caught a lot of people's eye, is Cam Thomas. Like, we already knew that he was a scorer. We knew that he was a bucket, from previous seasons, but now they're actually giving him that role. Like, you're getting consistent minutes every game. You're in the lineup, you're in the mix, and he's flourishing, man. Like, and when it comes in terms of pure scoring, I think he's one of the best in the league. Like, just from a skill standpoint, like shooting the 3 ball, shooting the midi, making tough shots, moving without the ball. You know what I mean? And it's just fun to watch. Like, if you just enjoy watching basketball, you're not looking at stats or anything. He's one of the funnest players to watch because I feel like anytime he shoots, the ball might go in. Like, that's how I really feel about when I'm watching him play. So he's making a great leap, like, as far as just being consistent. And I'm happy that he's getting the opportunity in Brooklyn because I mean, in the past, like, he would go off for these 30-point games, and the next game you look, he didn't even play, or he played a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's like, what are they doing? Like,
Yeah.
if a guy's getting buckets, you got to play him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just happy to see that he's actually getting consistent minutes.
Shout out to Jock Vaughn and the Nets, man. I think Jock is doing a really good job over there. I hope he gets the opportunity to see this thing through. Obviously, they don't have a contending roster, but every night, I mean, they're going to compete, right? And they have some guys. Can't mention Cam Thomas. They got Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and so the Nets aren't going to be a pushover, right? It's not a lot of pushovers in this league on a nightly basis at this point, right? Like, you're gonna have to like lock in because you never know. And so I think Jock Vaughn deserves a lot of credit for what they're doing in Brooklyn right now. But Cam, it's weird with him, right? He's a pure scorer, and it's just he's powerful too. Like, just his body type, he can get so low to the ground, and when he attacks, it's just hard to stop. It's like a running back almost on the court, and just the angles that he can just twist his body. He has the floater package. That's the thing when it comes about being a scorer. What type of some guys are just they specialize in certain things, right? One element of the game, right? But Cam has a jumper, he has a floater. Like, he has the mid-range game, right? And that's what's been so impressive about what Cam is doing. His range is unlimited. And so when it comes to scoring, that's what we're talking about. That's the conversation. What can the defense take away from you? And certain guys like a Cam Thomas, what are you going to do? He can shoot from the logo. If you play up on him, he can definitely drive and attack you with his speed, his quickness, his mobility, and his strength. And so, man, he's dangerous. I see him as, honestly, on a championship contending team, I see him as the perfect 6-man. Like, I think he could be what Jamal Crawford was, Lou Williams, Cam Thomas can be that for this era, just for his ability to just go off on anybody. You know what I mean? So I love that he's getting his opportunity because a lot of guys like a Cam Thomas, like you mentioned before, he wasn't getting that consistent time. A lot of guys like that just get lost, but he's getting an opportunity. Not a lot of guys get that opportunity to actually develop and showcase what they have. And so this is crucial in his development. And so I'm excited to see where the career takes him. I got to mention this one guy too, because I had him on the top of my notes, and it's not surprising what he's doing at this point in his career. I think you got to give him his flowers. That's Steph Curry at 35 years old. It's not that he's just 35, but he's 6'2". And watching the game for all these years, I can't recall a guard under 6'5" who is still scoring at an elite level like Steph is. You look at the small guards of the past, usually by 33, 34, that's when we start to see a tell-off. I don't see it with him. He's still putting up 30 a game, doing what he wants out there. Like, the finals run when they beat the Celtics, I'm like, this is the best I've seen Steph. Like, he's taking it to another level. Then last year, it's like, okay. And then this year, it's still like, I can't see a fall off. I don't see a fall off with him at all. Like, there's no area. He looks stronger. The jumper is going to be there. That. But just to see the way that he's mastered his game and the way that he's competing at 6'2" at the age of 35 isn't old in everyday life, but in basketball terms in the NBA, like 35 is okay. You're hitting that. You're slowing down a little bit, and to be 6'2" at that, so to me, I know we talk about LeBron and what he's doing, which is amazing, right? But Steph has to be in that conversation too, as far as longevity at 35 and being 6'2". Not the biggest guy. He's probably he's going to be the smallest guy on the court most nights. And so what he's doing, man, I hope people appreciate what he's doing. Like, cause it doesn't happen. It does not. Like,
Especially when you think about he had to overcome a lot of injuries early on in his
mm,
career too. So
mm,
um just like I think him getting stronger was the main thing. Like you said it, him getting stronger allowed him to be better on defense, is allow his body to take more impact, night in and night out. And the thing about Steph, he doesn't take a lot of games off either.
mm.
So that's definitely a big deal. I'm happy that you pointed that out. That's not something a lot of people really think about when it comes to Steph.
Shout out to Julian Strawther too in Denver. I'm excited to see what he does throughout the year as he develops. He might be a guy come like we saw with Christian Braun last year as the season goes on. He had a big game this past week against the Pelicans, so I'm excited to see what he does. Also, I got to point out another team in the West, the Rockets. I mean, look, they've won 5 straight games, so you can call it what you want to call it. While these other teams are struggling, like the Clippers and the Suns and the Pelicans, the Rockets are taking care of what they got to do, right? Yeah, the Lakers didn't have AD the other night, but you still have LeBron. You still got some other guys. Houston's still trying to figure out how to win. This is a game last year. Houston won a loss, probably, right? And so coaching matters. Ime Udoka, we know what happened in Boston, but you can't deny when it comes to his coaching abilities, what he did with Boston. Defensively, he's got them locked in the top 5. And veterans matter, right? Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green. These are guys that have competed, have won, have experienced these playoff battles. And so you have these veterans that you've picked up. You have a coach in Ime Udoka. You have these talented young guys. And I love what Houston's doing right now. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Ime Udoka and the Rockets.
Yeah, another team in the West that's impressed me, and I got to give them some credit because I remember me and you before the season started, we were kind of like, we don't know about them. Is the
Mm-hmm.
Mavericks? They're
Yeah.
7-2, and I mean, I don't know how sustainable it's going to be in the playoffs, but to start this season, they're one of the best teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me because Kyrie isn't even playing like the Kyrie that we've known. You know what I mean? Like he's averaging 21, but
Mm-hmm.
the Kyrie, putting up more numbers than that. And he's not even shooting the three ball that well, but they're still winning games.
Yeah.
So, I know Luka's going crazy. He's definitely in the MVP race, but we got to talk about how Grant Williams has, done good for that team.
Mm-hmm.
Them drafting Derek Lively, and that, I got to give credit to him because as a rookie coming in and being expected to be like that anchor on defense, that doesn't happen. It's not easy, but he's done it. He's had games where he's gotten into foul trouble, but he's also had games where he's dominated on the defensive end. So, I just gotta give credit to the Mavericks, man. They look good so far. I'm hoping they can keep it up because I love watching Luka and Kyrie play. So, we'll see.
Yeah, Luke was going crazy. That was a team that I wasn't sure about, and look, they're winning right now. While other teams are still trying to find their way. They're 7 wins. That's undeniable. 23rd in defense. So I want to figure out how, come playoff time, how that work. Can they get that together? But right now, I mean, they're in the position where they're going to have home court advantage. If they remain at this pace, second spot in the Western Conference, right? I believe, and so they have a chance to have that home court advantage. At least for the first couple rounds of the playoffs. And so, I have nothing to say. They're winning, right? And so, but let's just like you said, you want to see how this sustains, right? It's still early in the season. We'll see if the Pelicans, if they get healthy, can they figure it out? There's a lot of teams in the Western Conference that I think still are trying to figure it out. The Suns, right? Bradley Beal just came back. Devin Booker is hurt. And so when you get those guys back, can they consistently play together? The Pelicans have some injuries. I know that they're dealing with some guys missing games. And so the West is interesting for me. I think it's Denver. I think Denver has solidified himself as I'm confident they're going to make the Western Conference Finals. Like I can say that. After that, though, you can give me a few teams. I'm like, you can make an argument for them, right? And so the West is going to be fun as the season goes on for sure. What about some disappointments for you?
Man, I'm gonna be real. The Lakers are a huge disappointment, and it's not like I'm not a Lakers fan or anything, but I expected them to at least be, a team that we're talking about contending in the end and in the mix. And I know it's early on, but they just look ugly right now, man. Like they got a win last night, yeah. But some of these other games, just like why are you losing to the Rockets? Like, I know you don't
Mhm,
have AD, but why?
mhm.
I mean, why are we losing to these teams? And then why are you getting blown out by the Magic? Like the Magic, they're a good up and coming team, but you shouldn't be having it if you got LeBron and AD. And and it's sad because LeBron is playing great basketball. Like you look at their plus minus, but him on and off the court is crazy. He's
Mhm,
playing great basketball. AD is still AD. You know, he's gonna give you the real him some nights. He's gonna give you the soft him some nights.
mhm.
But you know, it's a lot of like inconsistency on the team, and it's still early, so I don't know if they have to make any dramatic moves yet. But if they keep playing like this, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. It's not going to look good.
To me, they're a playing team right now. And it's people look at the roster and see LeBron and AD and say, oh, that's a bona fide top 16, right? But then you look at the roster, you go deeper into it. Anthony Davis, as you mentioned, you don't know which one. First of all, you don't know if he's going to be there to play on any given night, right? That's one thing. Number two, when he does play, is he going to give me 30 or is he going to give me 18? That's a big difference. I just don't know which AD is going to show up, right? D'Angelo Russell as a point guard. Sometimes he makes decisions. I'm like, I don't know what he's thinking out there, right? Like there was one guy, I forgot what game it was, but I think they had like a 3-1 break. He like dribbles it out. I don't know if he took a shot or he did something that just was boggled my mind. Like you have a 3-on-1 advantage. Like what that should have ended up in a layup for you guys. Things like that. Austin Reeves, he's a solid player, got the contract, but he's not the third star that they're talking about, right? He's not that third guy that's going to lead them into the next level. And that's why I think at the trade deadline, as you know how this works with LeBron and the Lakers, if there's a move to be made to get a name in there, they're going to try to do it. So that wouldn't shock me at all if they made that move. And so you look at this roster, we talk about inconsistencies. It makes sense. Outside of LeBron, I mean, LeBron's 38, pushing 40. He shouldn't be carrying the load at this point, right? And so that's where I place the blame. And it's concerning because you're putting yourself in such a hole come February and March. You know how it works. Teams are going to be scrambling, trying to get a playoff spot or a play-in spot. So at that point, the Lakers are in that play-in spot, maybe a game or two away from the top six. Instead of having LeBron rest, LeBron's going to have to play these minutes to try to get these guys in. Like, and so these early games matter. Like they matter. That's why it matters that the Grizzlies are struggling right now. You can't just expect when Ja comes back, everything is going to click because, okay, Ja is special, but come March, are you going to be scrambling to get in the play in? So these early games matter. I look at the Lakers, it's just inconsistencies. I don't know what their identity is. The identity is LeBron carries. That's the identity. And that's just not going to work in 2023. Not anymore. Like it's just as great as LeBron still is, some other guys got to step up. They just do. And so you look at this roster, it is a collection of unproven talent, if we're being honest, right? Like I'll take LeBron out the equation, who's proven as far as winning, like on the surface, right? Like AD's a great talent, but at this point, what he's shown us, can he be relied upon on a nightly basis? I don't know, right? And so they have nice young pieces, guys that are, you know, Jared Vanderbilt. I know he's been out. Austin Reeves has shown promise. Cam Reddish still trying to figure it out. Rui Hachimura, Christian Wood. I mean, this just not a good team right now. It's an average team to me. It's not special. And when you're special, when the one thing that's special is a 38-year-old player having to play extra minutes when he shouldn't be, I can't trust it. So that's just my thing on the Lakers. And the other LA team, the Clippers, man, that's a mess. That's a mess. We can talk about James Harden and his impact on the team, but at the end of the day, you got Kawhi, PG, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. You should be playing better. You should be.
Thing is, the trade hurt him. That's my
Yeah.
reaction because before the trade, they were like, I seen it yesterday, they were top five in like offensive efficiency, they were top five
Mhm.
in defensive efficiency. And you even watch the games, like when they played the Nets, it was a possession where it was like probably 2:30 left and they needed to stop. They got the stop, but they couldn't harden them box out and rush them box out. They let the Nets get three opportunities and they scored, and that pretty much
Mhm.
that was the dagger. So it's
Mhm.
little things like that, like people when it comes to basketball, people the NBA look at the names, Harden, Kawhi,
Mhm.
but you got to have guys that are going to actually do the right things on the court. Like Harden, we know him, man. We know
Mhm.
he doesn't want to play off ball. I don't know what happened to that.
Mhm.
He's not a great defender, but he's not giving effort on defense. He's not boxing out. You know what I mean? People look at the box score and say, "Oh, he had this amount of points on this amount of shots. That's cool,"
Mhm.
but he's giving up points on the other end. He's not boxing out. He's not taking the right shot. Like it's been times I've seen people give him the ball wide open. He's pump faking to do a step back. It's like,
Mhm.
bro, go play pickup at the park or something. Like you're not trying to play real winning basketball. And
Yeah.
I hate to see it because the Clippers, like we talked about it before the year started, they were a team that they were buying into playing every game, not taking days off.
Mhm.
But now them getting hardened, I don't know. I don't know whose idea that was because it's not a good mix. Like it's not a good fit either. You got him and Russ back there who both need the
Yeah.
ball to really be effective. And then it's like, did the veterans, did they kind of want this trade to happen, or is that management? Like, I don't know. And Ty Lue's gonna have to figure something out, man, because Harden
It can
and
get
Russ can't start. They can't start
it,
together.
it can, I mean, it messes up the flow of things on offense when you bring in a James Harden, right? Because he needs the basketball, and so you got to figure out. PG and Kawhi are used to getting so many, some odd shots and looks, right? Now you bring a James Harden in, we know what he does, dribble, dribble. You know how he's gotten it off, right? And so that can mess up the rhythm and flow of an offense, right? That's one thing. And like you said, James Harden, he's staring at these rebounds. He's not hustling. He's not going after it. And these are winning plays that you need if you have championship aspirations. And that's the difference between a Denver Nuggets team, a Houston Rocket, right? These teams that are actually locked in on defense and trying to hustle and playing hard. Indiana Pacers team. These are teams that we've talked about that have been impressive so far, right? With the Clippers, it's just talent, just talent. Same thing with the Lakers. It's just like you look at LeBron and AD, it's just talent. But when you watch those games, it's like, what are you doing? What is your identity? You just look out of sorts right now. You're not playing winning basketball, and the Western Conference is in a place to where you can't just trot out these names and think you're going to win because these teams like OKC still is figuring it out still, but they're a top 6 team right now. The Rockets, I don't think people had them in the playoffs, but they're in the playoffs right now, right? Like the Mavs are better than what most people thought. Like these teams in the Western Conference aren't playing around; they will take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so the Clippers and Lakers are in trouble. We could have an all LA matchup in the play-in, which will be hilarious. I think that would be entertaining to see. But the way it's looking right now, I'm not confident that both LA teams will be in the top 6 of the playoffs. I don't think it'll happen. I really don't. I just don't. I don't see it.
Yeah, it don't look good for either one of them.
Yeah.
Lakers, they have time to get together. The Clippers, they have time to get together, but moves have to be made, lineup
Mm-hmm.
changes have to be done. So it's going to be interesting to see how these coaches handle that.
And even with that, moves have to be made. Then you got to figure out the chemistry once again. Like, what type of moves are we making? Is it messing up the order of things? Is there a filling out process of things? Is there what the Lakers did last year at the deadline was great. We saw how it worked out for them. Is there another deal like that? I'm not so sure, right? We'll see. But man, they just have to they have to give a consistent effort from AD on a nightly basis. To me, that's where it starts. AD has to be available, and when he's available, he has to perform. Yeah, he just has to, and they have to have the other guys to step up. Maybe Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, Cam Reddish and D'Lo. They have to maybe not. They don't have to be elite, but whatever they're doing now, maybe take it up a notch just to balance things out. Because what LeBron and Lakers are doing right now, it's just not going to work. At the end of the day, LeBron's great, but Father time is father time. Like in the NBA, that's a grind, the travel, the back-to-back games, right? Like it's not easy. And so you don't want to be in a position where you're exhausting LeBron and come playing time or playoff time, he has nothing. Like, then what? You know what I mean? And so the Lakers and Clippers, man, they're in the danger zone. The West is not, and the West isn't. These teams aren't scared of these names, right? You know what I'm saying? That's another thing. Like these teams are. You saw what Houston did. Like these teams are going at you, you know. And so the Phoenix Suns, I'm not worried about the Suns. I think they'll figure it out once Book and Bill get back consistently. I think they'll be good. The Pelicans, they have the talent. They just got to get those guys playing consistently as well. And so when it comes to the West, the Clippers and Lakers, to me, yeah, they're in the danger zone, and they're both in danger of missing the playoffs and just trying to figure it out in the play-in. So still a lot to be played. It's just November, right? Still got December and January where I think at that point we can say, okay, this team's for real. This team, not so much. And there's teams that can still get it together. But right now, that's how we see it right now. College basketball starting up too, so look forward to that. There's a couple names that I'm already excited about seeing so far from their debut. So we'll be talking about some college hoops on the men and women's side as well. But yeah, this is a good time of the year. I'm ready.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. College, you know, they're just getting started too, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see what goes on with that. Villanova, shout out Villanova, we're gonna do our thing. Like we
They
always
got a squad this year. What's up?
we'll see, man. I mean, you know, it's ever since Jay Wright left, it's been, you know, like new people coming in, new people coming out. But
Yeah.
so we're gonna be interesting. You know, we're always gonna be competitive. So we'll
Yeah.
see come March.
Carolina and Q's guy over here. So we'll see what the Tar Heels and Orange do. Disappointing year for both teams last year, but we'll figure it out. We'll get it together. But there's some names that I'm excited about just seeing individually when it comes to the college game, right? Isaiah Collier, just to start, USC point guard. He's been fun to watch. And so I think the Spurs should definitely be locked into USC games. They need a point guard badly, a starting caliber point guard badly. And so, yeah, we'll be talking some college hoops as the season goes on for sure. But thanks for watching us. You know the deal. Watch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We on there. We'll be back next week.
Yep. All right. Peace out.